What is up, guys? Kevin from the KO podcast. Today we are talking NBA buyout market right after this. Once again, my name is Kevin Barra from the KO podcast. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel and the second channel, La Pecera, Los Miami Marlins, and all our social medias linked down below, which include Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Discord server, and second channel, and Apple Podcast. Make sure to follow all of those. So, what is the criteria, first of all, for the buyout market? Now, usually the buyout market consists of pretty good players that could be really good role players on a contending team. And okay, which includes last season. Last season, there weren't many buyout players. But this season, we're going to go through probably all teams that should at least buy out one player. Now, this will not include the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, the Heat, the Nets. Those aren't going to be teams in the buyout market. Those teams in the that will buy out players include like the Hawks, possibly the Hornets, the Pistons, the Cavs. Those are teams that are going to be buying out. And then we're going to talk about teams in the buyout market, which include the Heat, the Clippers, the Bucks, the Sixers. Those are going to be the type of teams that we're going to be saying these are teams that should be interested in this player. So let's get started with the first player from the Atlanta Hawks. It is Tony Snell. I see the Atlanta Hawks buying out Tony Snell. He has a huge contract. And if I had to say three teams that are interested, as you can see, we have the Nets, the Lakers, and the 76ers. Those are all teams that need shooting and need at least some bench depth. You already saw the Lakers today releasing Quinn Cook. And also, you see the Sixers. The Sixers do need some three-point shooting help. That would be a good help in Tony Snell. And the Nets, just another player to add to the depth chart. That's why I have those three teams possibly being interested in Tony Snell. Next player is Bismack Biyombo of the Charlotte Hornets. I could see them buying him out. And teams that would be interested in the center are the Nets, the Wizards, the Mavericks, the Warriors, and the Heat. So I put the Heat here just because they've been interested in players like DeMarcus Cousins, Drummond. Why not maybe check out Bismack Biyombo, check him out. What would he bring out to the team? He is a guy who did play very well with Toronto in that final year of his, and then he went back to Charlotte. The only reason I put him there is because I know what he did against Miami in the Eastern semifinals, 2016, if I'm correct. So no bueno there. But yeah, I mean, the Wizards, they lost Thomas Bryant, bring another guy. They actually brought Alex Len, so maybe that's a difficult one because I did include the Wizards in I think only two teams that would want a center. But then you have the Mavericks. Mavericks have been looking for a center in a long time. Bismack can be helped. The Warriors, you literally have no centers. Or like they played the Heat with no centers and still beat us. So yeah. And then you have the Nets. The Nets have been looking for a center. They're interested in DeMarcus Cousins, who actually got released today. So that would be one big signing for them. Now, one of the most popular names in the buyout market would be Blake Griffin if he gets bought out. And these are the teams that have them being interested in Blake Griffin, which are the Heat, the Raptors, the Clippers, the Mavericks, the Suns, and the Lakers. Out of these teams, which one has the slightest chance or the biggest chance? I only have two teams. The Heat and the Lakers have the biggest chance. In third place, I would say the Clippers. Raptors are trying to compete. The Suns, they have Chris Paul, so they have the dynamic. They would have the dynamic duo back. And then you have the Mavericks, which have been looking for a big man in a long time. And they're actually surfacing the waters of trading Kristaps Porzingis. Next player, we have Mason Plumley of the Detroit Pistons. Now, he did sign a 3-year deal. He's still very young, so I could see him being their center for a long time. But they do have a guy by the name of Isaiah Stewart, and they have a young Jahlil Okafor. So teams that could be interested in Mason Plumley are the Lakers, Heat, Raptors, Warriors, Nets, and Mavericks. Those are teams that I could see them going after a guy like Mason Plumley, especially in this buyout market, which teams are looking for just role players that could fill the depth chart. Next, Drummond. I think he most likely gets bought out. These are the teams that are going to be interested in him: the Raptors, the Celtics, the Nets, the Heat, the Lakers, and the Mavericks. Before I keep saying, why do you keep including these contending teams? Because that's where buyout players usually go, to a contending team. Now they could go to a really bad team like the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, they could say, Drummond, I want you on Minnesota. Get over here. You'll be with Karl Anthony Towns. I don't see that happening. That's the thing. You have to look well. The Lakers just released Quinn Cook. They're probably looking for a better upgrade at point guard or even center. They're not interested in DeMarcus Cousins, which I have him coming up, and I have the Lakers out there. That's the time I made the the thumbnail, I included the Lakers not knowing about this report. But yeah, I mean, who could take Drummond here? It's between the Raptors, Celtics, and Nets. Dark horse team, the Miami Heat. DeMarcus Cousins is next. Forget the Lakers. They're last. They're in the bottom. He would not go back to Los Angeles. But you have the Clippers, the Nets, the Heat, the Raptors, and the Celtics. If I had to choose one team right now that I would take it, I think it's the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat have been interested in DeMarcus Cousins for the past 3 years. Last season in free agency and the season before. Or actually, not even. They've been interested in him for the past 4 seasons. Because when he signed with Golden State, then he went to the Lakers, then he goes to the Houston Rockets. So you could say the past 4 seasons. Now they're once again interested in him. So that's why I'm saying 4, not 3. And yeah, I mean, the dark horse team to really take him here, I think would be the Clippers or the Raptors. Because the Celtics, I don't see that huge interest. I just have it as a fit. They do need a center. I don't think Daniel Tice is their guy. Neither is Ennis Cantor. And Cantor's on the Celtics. They don't have a good. They have Robert Williams. I don't see that being their actual future. Now, a player that I think wouldn't be realistically bought out, but has a good chance, is Eric Bledsoe. I'll add the Clippers, the Lakers, the Mavericks, and the 76ers being interested in them. So now we add a new team, and we take a couple out. We take out the Heat, the Celtics, the Raptors, and we add the 76ers into this buyout market that I could easily see them joining it. Well, we added them Tony Snell. But anyways, Eric Bledsoe, I think, would be a very good fit with any of these teams. I mean, you look at the Clippers, that would be the best fit. Honestly, either the Clippers or the 76ers. Those would be the 2 best fits in my case. The Lakers, if they get him, they're just going to have a lot of guards. And Mavericks, that wouldn't be a bad one either. You also have Jalen Brunson. You'd put Brunson and Bledsoe together with Luke at the small forward. Power forward, you'd say Porzingis. And then the center, you would say Willie Cauley-Stein or Dwight Powell. Next player, another unrealistic one, but possibly could happen, is Ricky Rubio. And I could see the Bucks, Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks, 76ers, and Memphis Grizzlies be interested in him. They need point guards. Might as well go after one right now with that kind of a team, with those kinds of teams out there that would possibly be into a point guard. If I had to choose one team right now that would for sure take him, I think it would be either the Clippers or the 76ers. The 76ers don't have another point guard besides Ben Simmons. I mean, you have Shake Milton. He's a pretty good guy. I think he's a pretty good player. But I think just having another veteran in there, which you could trust and rely on in these kinds of situations, would be possibly the best option. Next player is George Hill. George Hill, I could see him going to either Celtics. That's probably the most unrealistic spot for him. But if you really want to trade Kemba Walker and want to bring another vet, get George Hill. You have the Clippers, the Lakers, the Nets, and the 76ers. All those teams are really good for George Hill. I forgot to put the Bucks in there to go back to Milwaukee. He was pretty good with the Bucks. I mean, if I had to choose a team right off the bat, I would say either the Clippers or the Nets in this case. Dark horse team, 76ers. I don't see the Lakers going after a guard. I put guard because they did release Quinn Cook, so he might be looking into a replacement there. So yeah, and next player, I think one of the most interesting players in the trade deadline market, the buyout market, would be Trevor Ariza. I have the Jazz, the Heat, the Lakers, the Clippers, the 76ers, and the Nets joining the conversation for Trevor Ariza. All these teams needing 3-point shooting. All these teams needing a wing who's going to be very good for them at the 3-point shooting, offensively and defensively pretty good. If I had to choose a team there, I think it would be the Lakers or the Nets, man. Miami Heat, as well as a dark horse contender and super, super underrated dark horse contender. Put the Utah Jazz in there. And the final player, but before we hit the final player, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all the social medias. Right now, this is today's video. La Pecera los Miami Marlins. I'm trying to do an interview. I'm going to ask today about this interview. We have some big things coming up for that channel as well as this one. So stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. Final player, Hassan Whiteside. Clippers, Heat, Lakers, Nets, Wizards, and Raptors. All those teams I think would be easily interested in a guy like Hassan Whiteside. They see Miami. What do you mean Miami? No, yeah, Miami. Miami's very interested in Andre Drummond. At this point, you might as well be interested in a guy like Hassan Whiteside, who you very much know from past years, and you pretty much developed this man into what he is today. Into the man who had a 4-year, $90 million contract. That's what I'm going to say right now. And if I had to choose a team to take him, I think it would be the Raptors and then the Lakers. Those are the 2 top teams. If I had to say dark horse team, maybe the Nets, maybe the Heat, maybe the Clippers. I don't see the Wizards having a big chance at him. So once again, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.